This is how it comes to 2-5 feel.
All right. Well, we are back at it again, and we've got a bone to pick with most of you, actually. A good, I think it was 59%.
You told me the number.
I think it was 59% of you. Our videos, the majority of our views are coming from non-subscribers.
Which is a little whack.
And we don't get a lot of views.
Yeah.
Our last video had 30 views, and I definitely have more than 30 friends. Where you at?
Yeah.
So
Look at 30 accounts, bro.
Around 59% of you guys are dirty, non-subscribing bastards.
All I'm saying is that game recognized game, and y'all viewers looking pretty unfamiliar.
Addison, why would they be subscribed to you? They don't know who you are yet. This is
I was talking about your
this
viewers.
Is Addison Willmon.
Hello.
RPOpinions podcast.
Hello, my name is Addison Willmon. I have a podcast of my own.
I'm applying for a position in the finance department.
Listen, just because my podcast is a lot more professional than yours doesn't mean you can make fun of me. All right, it is so much more professional than yours.
You think so?
100%.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
What do you mean? Anyway, so if you like football, you can subscribe to my podcast. It's only about half an hour long every week. It's lots of fun.
Yeah, so our first guest on the podcast. With that, we're going to take you into
first guest on the podcast comes over here and just insults the fuck out of us.
Yeah,
You're right.
Our first topic is fantasy football.
Fantasy football.
We are all in the same fantasy football league, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
You're the expert. So what do you think?
You quote unquote expert.
I mean, you've worked for ESPN. Is that correct?
I have interned for ESPN.
How about that? Yeah. Was it paid?
No.
Oh, do they
paid in experience.
Oh. How much was did it cover your rent?
I wish, no.
Every time he laughs, it just peaks.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. You know that noise you make when you feel extreme joy? Cut that shit out.
I'm just gonna turn that gain down a little bit.
That is all right. Yeah, fantasy football. I've won my fantasy football league championship 3 years in a row. I like to think I'm pretty good at it. But what do you guys want to know?
Well, I have only played fantasy football once before
who
this,
should I pick?
And I won. So hopefully I can give you a run for your money.
I have only played it once, and I came in second place.
Okay, so I probably probably 5 hours every week to who I'm selecting for my starting lineup.
Damn.
I do a lot of research.
I commit a part-time job to fantasy football.
You take that shit serious.
Well, hey, 5 hours a week doing something I enjoy to get $100 at the end of the season.
He's like, I'm trying to win that honey at the fucking end.
Hey, it's already in my account. I leave it in my Venmo account, so whoever gets it, I send it to them. It never leaves my Venmo
it's
account.
It's like, what are you going to do if you win? Bunch of hookers and cocaine.
Well, that's not the answer we were looking for.
Definitely the answer I was looking for.
But, I don't know. You asked who you should pick first this year. Probably Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, not Tom Brady.
Not Tom Brady, like
hey,
you did 2 years ago.
I came in second place with Tom Brady.
I don't know. Beginner's
would have
luck
come in
is
first if I didn't pick him.
Listen, beginner's luck is a real thing when it comes to fantasy football.
Listen,
I shouldn't have won my first year, but I did.
Okay, so in the past couple of months, there were a couple of big changes. One of them being Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay, and the other one being Cam Newton going to the Patriots.
Yes.
Thoughts on both of those? I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, well, I've actually covered this pretty extensively on my own podcast, but with Tom Brady to the Buccaneers, Bruce Arians, the coach for Tampa Bay, he's always had a very air raid style system. He wants to push the ball downfield as much as possible, 20-plus yard throws, upwards of 10, 15 times a game. Tom Brady has never had the arm strength for that, and he especially doesn't at 43 years old. What I think their system is actually going to turn into offensively is, it'll be the classic Tom Brady death by 1,000 paper cuts, throwing 4-yard slant passes and curl routes, and then pushing the ball deep probably 5 to 10 times a game. He has good deep accuracy. He just doesn't have the arm strength to push it down the field that much. I would expect the Buccaneers to be a top 16, top 14 team this year. I like them a lot. Their defense is young, and they have some of the best offensive weapons in the NFL. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are probably both top 10 receivers, top 10 or top 15. Really, really good core there. At running back, they just signed LaShawn McCoy. They drafted Keyshawn Vaughn. They still have Ronald Jones. It's a pretty good committee, although none of them are exceptionally good. When it comes to Cam Newton is like the exact opposite of Tom Brady. Tom Brady, you're surprised if he moves more than 6 inches out of the pocket, whereas Cam Newton is probably going to be asked to run at least 5 times a game. Even with his injury history, he's got a cannon of an arm. I don't believe he is, he's not going to be as good as he was when he won the MVP. It's just going to be super difficult with all the injuries he's had to be as good as he was. I still believe he can be probably a top 20 quarterback just because, the talent is there, the athleticism is there. I expect him to make that system run, but I don't expect him to execute it as well as Tom Brady did.
All right. I appreciate that.
No problem.
See,
very informative.
See, you're definitely more into NFL than college football.
Yes, I'm mostly into college football for the draft. So,
and who's your favorite team?
Oh, come on.
Well,
Alabama
they don't
Crimson
know.
Tide.
No.
Roll Tide.
Oh, NFL team.
NFL team.
Okay.
War Eagle, by the way. But we can all agree we're Lions. Your favorite NFL team, because I know what your favorite teams are.
Yes, okay. My favorite NFL team is the New York Giants, unfortunately. They kind of suck ass.
Their biggest claim to fame is they beat the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl.
Eli Manning is getting to the Hall of Fame, whether y'all like it or not.
I mean, whether he deserves it or not.
He deserves it. He absolutely deserves it.
He sucks the regular season. Postseasons where he just shines.
He's never sucked during the regular season up until his last few years.
Never until.
Yeah. Regardless. Yeah, the Giants, they'll probably have a top 18-ish offense. I think it'll be average. The defense, on the other hand, is just bad. The linebackers are obscenely horrible, and there is no depth in that cornerback group. So I have no faith in the defense. Hopefully, Daniel Jones takes a big step forward in year 2 and looks a lot more comfortable, doesn't fumble as much. Saquon Barkley is obviously a monster. Darius Slayton looked really good last year in his rookie year, despite being a 5th-round pick. I have high hopes for the offense, especially if Evan Ingram, their tight end, can stay healthy. The offensive line should be slightly improved. I would expect it to be a top 16 unit, but yeah.
If you had to make a prediction right now of the top 4 teams.
Top 4 teams.
Top 4 teams at the end of the season going for the Super Bowl.
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, I'm going to choose
the
2
AFC. The 4 semifinal teams.
Okay, so I'll choose 2 AFC teams and 2 NFC teams.
Yep.
In the AFC, I think the easy answer is probably the Chiefs and the Ravens, just because they were both so obscenely good last year. The Chiefs, I have no doubt, are going to make it to make a deep playoff run again, just because they really... Brett Veach, their general manager, did an amazing job of keeping that team together. By the end of the season, the Kansas City Chiefs had $177 in cap space. They were bumping the edge of not being able to afford anybody. And in the same offseason, they were able to sign Patrick Mahomes to a 10-year, $503 million deal. And Chris Jones to, I believe, a 6-year, $85 million deal or something like that. Or 4-year, $85 million deal, I made. So I have no clue how he did it, but that team is going to be as good as it was last year.
That's like, for Mahomes, that's like $50 million a year.
Yeah. But the thing is,
it's crazy.
And that seems like a lot now, but
yeah.
Some of the best, not even best quarterbacks, top 16, top 20-ish quarterbacks, like Jared Goff is making $34 million a year.
I mean, it seems like a lot of money to me right now, like $100.
You're right.
Like a lot of money.
You're right. Me too. I agree. But you got guys like Jared Goff that are making $34 million a year. In 5 years, I would expect $50 million to be, just good quarterback money. So
you think
it seems a lot now, but in 5 or 6 years, it's really going to start paying for itself.
Is it always going up? You think?
Yeah, the cap space goes up just about every year.
Mm-hmm.
So
a controversial topic in
other two teams.
Oh
okay,
yeah,
other two teams,
Chiefs and Ravens.
I'll go with the Ravens as the other AFC team just because that offense was so dynamic last year. I don't know how anybody can stop it really, and they had a phenomenal draft like always. With the NFC teams, the Cowboys look like they have a loaded roster, but I hate the Cowboys, so I'm not picking them.
Do you think they could though?
I definitely think they could. It all depends on Dak Prescott. You know, they will live and die by the production of Dak Prescott. But
what was the deal that they signed like 2 years ago or last year?
What
with Dak Prescott?
They haven't given him a new deal.
I thought
yet.
they did.
No, he up until this.
I thought there was a deal where like it was like, why would you give this man a deal?
No, up until this coming year, he was making average like $680,000 a year, which is nothing for a quarterback.
Yeah,
and
Patrick Mahomes getting $50 million a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Needs a raise.
And this year he's actually playing on the franchise tag. I think making like $31.4 million or something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go.
Yeah, he's making decent quarterback money.
Yeah, I don't know how you be a professional quarterback not making at least $1 million a year.
Exactly. It's because he was drafted in the third round.
He's like, all right, boys, made it to the big leagues now, finally.
Yeah, he's getting paid what he should have been paid for his production. But for my NFC teams, I'm really partial to the Seahawks because I really love Russell Wilson. Their draft this year kind of sucked, though. So, I don't know. Their offense really will rely on DK Metcalf. How big of a step does he make in year two? Because he was great as a rookie last year. If their tight ends stay healthy, I'm a big fan of Will Dissly, who was a fourth-round pick a couple years ago. On their defense is always going to be stout. You know, they just traded for Jamal Adams, which was a huge trade. Younger defensive back group. Their linebackers, you still have Bobby Wagner, one of the best in the business. And they have no edge rushers, really, to speak of. But I think for the NFC teams, I'm probably going to go 49ers and Seahawks. I can't go with 49ers and Seahawks. They're in the same division. So, that's a good one. You know what? I'm gonna make maybe a bold prediction. I'm gonna say Cardinals and Seahawks.
Cardinals, okay.
Cardinals, they picked like 7th in the draft last year. They were not good. But Kyler Murray, that was bad. Kyler Murray looked like just unbelievable last year as a rookie. I had lower hopes than most for Kyler Murray, but he definitely proved me wrong last year. Then they just traded for DeAndre Hopkins, a top 3 receiver in the league. They made some improvements on the offensive line. Their defense was already good, and they added Isaiah Simmons. I have high hopes for that Cardinals roster.
Hell yeah.
So, a controversial topic in the realm of NFL, and maybe you could help clarify it for me because I've been very confused watching a lot of the games. What is a catch?
Okay. So here are the rules for a catch. The receiver has to catch the ball. It has to enter his hands. He has to make 2 feet touch the ground. 2 feet or a body part such as the forearm, elbow, knee, hip, something like that. And otherwise, he has to make a quote-unquote football move, which is like a turn of the body or something similar to that. And they have to maintain possession through contact. So all that means is you have to catch the ball, and even if somebody hits you, you hang on to it. Or if you hit the ground, you still hang on to it. So
you can still catch the ball and just go straight to the ground.
Yes.
And it count.
Yes, as long as you hold on to the ball through hitting the ground.
So what do you consider those plays where that definitely happened and the refs called it a no catch?
I think all refs are horrible. I don't think there are any good refs. I think being a referee is one of the hardest jobs ever. It is like one of the most difficult jobs and most criticized jobs. So I don't think there's any good
definitely
referee.
Highly criticized, yeah.
I don't think there's any good referee, but there are definitely worse referees.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Heard it in the movie once. You said it all, man. Look. Just if you're a ref out there, Addison's got your fucking number.
No, hey, listen.
He will be sitting on
for your ass.
This season, he will be sitting on my fucking couch shouting at the TV.
You're right. I will. And if you make a bad call, I'll be sure to let you know. I'll call the front office and be like, "Hey, you need to tell this guy to be better," and then they'll hang up on me because I'm just a nobody.
Yeah, have you ever heard of RPOpinions? Yo, I'm that guy. Man. You know this dude?
Yeah, man.
I want his fucking job.
I've got like 240 subscribers on Twitter, 240 followers. You don't want that. You don't want that smoke.
I don't actually have 240
shooters
Twitter
in these
followers
streets.
yet, but if you want to follow me,
I thought you did. I was on your.
I got like on my actual podcast page. I have like just under 210 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's get it to 240, boys.
240. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, we got double digits.
Dude, oh yeah, we do.
I think so. I think we might be only at 7, but I don't know. Hey, if you're listening to this, it's too late. It's already too late. Okay, so
follow us on Twitter, you know.
Addison is also a gamer like us, and
Yes.
and he's into a lot of the same stuff as us. So we're gonna keep him around and get his thoughts on some other things. But we're gonna shift the conversation to a game that Luke just beat today.
Yeah, I beat so the game Ghost of Tsushima, been out for a little bit. Took me a little while to beat it. I beat it maybe an hour ago, give or take, maybe a little more than an hour. A wonderful game. I thought that game was awesome. So basically what happened is I booted it up and I started the game and it put me to checkpoint in the mission I was doing. And like a week and a half ago when I put that mission down because I was too busy, had I known that I was at the end of the semi-final mission in the game, I probably wouldn't have put it down. I would have just beaten the game. But yeah, I picked it up, beat the mission, did the next mission, roll credits.
Yeah, you literally beat the game in about half an hour.
Yeah. Like it was very fun. I will go back and complete all the side quests that I didn't do eventually. I'll do that. Kind of clear out all the bases at some point. Love the game. Overall, give it like an 8.5 or a 9. I thought it was super fun. Very beautiful. My biggest complaint, probably that the main character is like a pretty one-note character. He's definitely like the least fleshed out character in the game. I felt like he's just your stereotypical. I'm the samurai and I must kill the enemy. That's your character. It's really my only real big complaint. It's a pretty good game. I like it a lot.
Do you want to give... I have not been watching you play this game until today when I watched you beat it, and I was like, oh, it looks pretty. What's the general story of the game?
So, the story is...
And the publisher of the game.
It's Sucker Punch, developer. Okay. Sucker Punch. So, it's set during the first Mongol invasion of Japan. The Mongols come to your city, or your island, rather. A bunch of samurai line up to fight them. They get wiped out. The Mongols kill all the samurai on the island except for the main character, Jin Sakai, and his uncle, Lord Shimura. And so, like, first act is all about rescuing your uncle. Second act is all about, after you rescue your uncle, the Kodan Khan, the bad guy, the leader of the Mongol forces, goes north and ends up, like, taking over your ancestral home as his base. So Act 2 is all about getting your home back, and then once you have it, Act 3 is about finally defeating the Khan. And it's super cool. I liked the story. Really cool, basic samurai action story. Big fan. It was meant to be like a love letter to, is it Kurosawa, I think? The Japanese director Kurosawa?
I forget his
I
name.
believe so.
It was like a love letter to like his films, and it did that very well. It was a great game. The combat is excellent. Like, excellent.
I did see early on when you were playing it, I caught a glimpse of you like cutting bamboo.
Yeah, okay, so there's health and resolve. And resolve is like what you use to heal, and it's also what you use to do like ultimate abilities, like the Heavenly Slash or whatever, Heavenly Strike, cost resolve to use. And how you get more resolve is there are bamboo. I don't really know what to call them. Like bamboo, like cutting stations. You know, like you see like videos of people that have trained with katanas, like cutting through a bunch of bamboo. It's that, but it's a button press mini game, kind of like the Test Your Might in Mortal Kombat, and it's hands down my favorite part of the game.
Really? That's interesting.
I loved that. At one point, I was just like, dude, fuck these side quests. I just want to go cut bamboo. and you can buy a skill, basically, that makes it so that instead of the wind tracking your objective, the wind will point you towards the nearest one of those. And I just did that for a while.
This is an idea I've been spitballing around. Is that at the end of 2020 we'll do a podcast. Basically, the whole podcast will be a best of 2020, which not a lot of good. 2020's been kind of shit.
Yeah.
But
our film segment's going to be really small.
There are diamonds in the rough.
There are. A shiny piece of coal, as you might say.
Yeah. Okay. That one's going to be probably number one on best video game. Hamilton.
Oh my god.
Hamilton. Okay.
Hamilton's pretty good too.
So we're gonna do a best of. I'm thinking we should do like a best of, but as of right now, we're 8 months roughly into the year.
We are in month 8.
Mm-hmm. Awesome birthday month, boy. Yeah. What? You're like flicking your nipple. Okay. What is your favorite video game that has come out this year?
Dude, you're gonna have to get back to me on that.
No,
I gotta
you on the
find
spot. I want
list.
you.
No, well,
what does your instinct tell you?
Here's what we're gonna. I don't know.
I should cut bamboo.
Here's what I'll do. While I'm looking up a list of things, let's talk about Fall Guys.
Okay.
Because that just recently came out. It's free on PS Plus for the month. We downloaded it. We've been playing it a lot. What do you guys think of Fall Guys?
I tell you what. Fall Guys is fun as shit. I have only played it on your PlayStation. We want to do at some point maybe a Let's Play of Fall Guys, which that's something
just a short little video of us,
which we can get just from capturing from your.
We can.
Yeah.
We should definitely still get a capture card so we can
like
actually do stuff like that.
But I will say this though, we are getting into doing some Let's Plays. We recorded our first one yesterday, and we did Bullet Roulette. So that video is going to be
very short, quick thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a very short Let's Play. The video is going to be on our YouTube channel, so be sure to go check that one out. So we want to get into doing that, and one of the ones we definitely want to do is Fall Guys. It is fun as fuck.
Yeah, I would say Fall Guys is one of the best casual games to come out this year for sure. Mm-hmm. Like it's really fun to just pick up and play a couple games with your friends.
To those of you who don't know, all Fall Guys is it's a very cutesy platformer battle royale.
Mm-hmm. 3D platformer.
Yeah, so you go through multiple levels, doing a bunch of different mini games. And that's all it is. It's just back-to-back mini games.
And you get eliminated for failing the mini games, being in last, something like that.
Yeah, like they only allow so many people to qualify for the next round, and then at the end, it all comes down to one winner.
But they are very fun. You some of them you're like walking over this goop, and if you fall in the goop, you're eliminated. And you're like walking like over like beams and having to run around and jump through walls, and it's very fun. It's a very cute game.
There's one game that's just literally soccer.
It is free if you have a PlayStation.
Yeah, there is.
PlayStation Network, it is free. Go get it. It's usually $20, but it's free right now. Go to PlayStation Network and get it. We're not sponsored by PlayStation Network, sadly, but go get the game. Fuck them, get the game.
Yeah, great game.
Game is really fun.
Looks like fuck it. That's my favorite game of the year. No.
I'm looking. Dude, we've already... Dude, as of February, 2 Yakuza games came out this year.
Wait, hold on.
Yakuza 5 and Yakuza 0 launched this year.
Yeah.
He's
on
like Final
PS4
Fantasy.
and Xbox One, respectively.
I have not gotten to Yakuza 5 yet.
I've never played a Yakuza game. I'm probably going to wait and then just pick up Like a Dragon, because I think Like a Dragon looks incredible.
Dude, it's an unbelievably good series. If you've never tried it out, all of them are great.
I plan on eventually playing the other ones, but I'll probably just hold out and wait for that one.
I'm pretty vanilla for my favorite game of the year so far because I just got a PlayStation 4 this year. And one of the first games, like I've only bought one of the new releases this year, 2 technically because I did get Fall Guys, but The Last of Us Part 2, I got that one, and it's a phenomenal game.
Okay,
we reviewed it on the podcast.
Reviewed what?
The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I think it overall had an 8.2 between the both of us. phenomenal game.
Have you seen the reviews for that game though?
The critical reviews,
Everybody hates it.
No, critics thought it was incredible.
I think
they did it at first.
Critics fawned over that game.
Yeah,
it has like a 92 on. No, it still has like a 90 something on Metacritic. The user reviews are bad because they
review bombed.
I've read a lot of it. Some of the people did have very genuine complaints. But if you just go to, like, user reviews and you scroll through, like, 80 out of the first 100 are going to be like a strong girl bad, Joel deserved better, buff women suck, didn't want to play as Ellie, trans bad. Like that's, like, 80% of the reviews.
Well, I've watched a couple, people like to post video essays and stuff. I watched a couple of those, and it was like half an hour each of just legitimate complaints about.
Yeah, because it's not a hot.
It's definitely not a perfect game.
It's not a hot take to have hot takes anymore. The Metascore for what I'm saying is it's popular to have hot takes. Everybody's got a hot take on something, and they're like, it's a hot take, and it's really not. Like it's a general take that a lot of people have is like, my hot take is that pineapple doesn't go on pizza. I'm like, half the population.
Well, I didn't say it was a hot take. I said it was a legitimate take.
The Metascore for it on Metacritic is 94 for the critics. And the user score has actually gone up from when it came out. It's up to a 5.6. It was like a 2.5, I think, when we first looked at it.
Did you know that the initial user reviews for that game were the review bomb caused it to be so low that now Metacritic won't let users do reviews until, I think, 24 hours after the game launches.
Interesting.
Because there were reviews coming out before the game, the game had been launched for 5 hours, and people were like, oh, it's the worst game ever.
Yeah, 0 out of 10.
Yeah, whatever.
A lot of people were just I made it 2 hours into the game, can't play anymore. And it was
here's the deal. At least when they did it, they did the same thing for Season 8 of Game of Thrones, but at least then, after watching it, it did deserve all those bad reviews. So they got lucky that it deserved it, but had it been great and they review bombed it, I'd have been pissed.
I still think the Season 8 of Game of Thrones is not as bad as people say.
I agree.
It's definitely bad, but it's definitely not as horrible as people say.
I think the worst atrocity from Season 8, and Luke will agree with me, is what they did to Jaime Lannister's character.
Okay. So if you want to get into that, I'll get into that real quick. I'll get into it.
I told you guys, before we started, we're going to get off into stuff. And I like to say things that poke him a little bit, get him going.
So
poke the bear.
I love the Song of Ice and Fire series. Read the books. We've read the novellas. Watched the show. And my favorite character it's not anymore. He's still top 3, but he's not my favorite character anymore. My favorite character for years was Jaime Lannister. I love Jaime Lannister. I think he has one of, if not the best character arcs in the series. So it's redemption done right. It's great. And then, in one sentence, the D&D, Benioff and Weiss, in one sentence, they took his entire 7-season redemption arc and then crumpled it up like a piece of paper and threw it in the garbage.
Yep. Agreed.
With one sentence. How do you mess up that bad?
Yeah, they ruined a lot of characters. So
but none that bad. But my new favorite character is Davos.
Davos is my favorite
character. Yeah, he's pretty rad.
One of my favorite moments in the entire book series is from his point of view, but we'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they ruined a lot of characters in season 8, and it's because I believe it was because George R.R. Martin didn't tell them the true ending until after they had already planning or something.
No,
like that, right?
they knew ahead of time. Spoiler alert! They knew ahead of time. He told them ahead of time that so apparently there were a few things that he told them that they made sure to do that are things that will for sure happen in the books. I think those were Bran becoming the king of Westeros and Stannis burning his daughter at the stake. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure those are confirmed will happen in the book. There was a third.
Damn.
But I don't remember what the third guarantee was.
All I know is Tyrion had the best character arc in television in season 3. And then it's like they just didn't know what to do with his character, so he just kind of walked around being sad about what Daenerys did for 4 seasons.
I just think Jaime had a better season 3 arc.
Really?
Because that was the beginning of it. Was when he got the hand cut off. It was the one of the best moments in the entire show. The scene in the bath with Brienne. That was season 3, and that was incredible.
I like probably the most shocking moment in the entire series for me was when Oberyn died. And
that was a yeesh.
Yeah, that was
yeesh, dog.
Look, I was
not okay after that scene.
That scene was hard to watch.
And then watching Tyrion stow himself away and sail and lie in his own shit for weeks to sail like that.
Which that was season 4.
Yeah, that
like is season 4. No. All the things that you just said are season 4.
No.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Season 4 episode 2.
Yeah, it is because it's after the red wedding. Mm-hmm. My fault.
After the purple wedding.
What?
The purple wedding.
I mean, technically it is after the red wedding.
Yeah, it is technically after the red wedding, but the purple wedding is what set it in. Purple wedding is when Joffrey was killed.
Yeah, but
yeah,
regardless.
But no,
we want to talk about a shocking moment. The red wedding.
Oh my god, best moment in TV.
No, I don't know that, dude.
Dude, I loved that so much.
Saddest moment. Hey, saddest moment. Hodor,
dude.
Hold the door.
Okay,
hold the door.
Dude,
that
was so sad.
Look, Luke was there when Luke watched it with me because I had not seen Game of Thrones until last January. I started watching it. We watched it all the way through, leading up to season 8. You want to talk about not being okay? I was genuinely not okay. I was like squalling on his couch, bawling my eyes out. My now fiance sitting next to me, and I'm just like, he held the door, and I was crying. I was so emotional after that I called my father. To talk to him.
Okay.
because he loves Game of Thrones, and I was like, I just gotta talk to you, Dad. Like, I need to talk to someone who understands.
All right, maybe it's just me.
I want my dad.
Maybe it's just me, but the Hodor death, like, it upset me, but like, it was not even close to the most depressing death in the series.
You are cold and heartless.
Okay, so the thing is, like, Hodor was pure and everything.
He didn't do nothing to nobody.
You're right. He was only ever good to Bran.
He didn't do nothing.
He was only ever good to the people he loved. But like,
I mean.
But there was also like no character there. He was just kind of the lovable blob. It could have been anybody.
Look, your dog doesn't have to have a character for you to be sad when it dies.
The thing is, if you spend enough time with a dog, you realize they do have a character.
Well, yeah, their character is nice, lick you in the face. Like
Hodor never got enough screen time to be related
Hodor's character
to.
is nice, hug you. Like
he never got enough screen time to be
it's
relatable.
Also rip head off when Bran tells me to.
Like, yeah, it's awesome.
When
he's like
Bran takes control of my mind.
He was a giant teddy bear who was killed saving his like friend.
In the books, Bran, once he finds out that he can warg into Hodor, he does it so often that like Hodor's scared of him.
Really?
Yeah, Hodor in the books is afraid of Bran.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So Luke asked you a question. What do you think is this like most depressing death?
Ooh.
Don't say Jon Snow.
Oh, what? Come on.
Okay.
Jon Snow.
No, that was a good one.
Die, but like, it wasn't depressing.
Yeah,
you want to know what death made me feel real good?
What?
Ollie.
Oh, dude.
When they just the like close up shot of Ollie's blue face after he was hung, I was like, yeah, dude, fuck you. That's what you get.
I thought Ollie was dope for a little while.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
Everybody thought Ollie was
However,
dope.
I thought he was a G.
name? What was his name? The guy that led them into doing...
Was it Alistair? Alistair Thorne?
Yeah, dude. Fuck that dude.
Yeah, Alistair Thorne sucks.
Alistair
Thorne, I don't think had anything to do with it in the books.
Damn. They just wanted him out of there.
Well, see, in the books, what it was is they thought that he was going to leave the Night's Watch to force the Night's Watch to join Stannis' army. And so before he could do that, they were like, we gotta kill him. We gotta kill him so he won't break his vows and force us to break our vows. We gotta let him die a man of the Night's Watch.
Who?
And so Jon.
Jon.
And so what they did is, instead of being like, hey, your Uncle Benjamin's back, they wrote the pink letter. You know the letter in season 6 that Jon gets where Ramsay's like, I have your sister come and see, I've destroyed Stannis' army, come and see, yada yada. That's the pink letter. The pink letter, it's theorized that Ramsay had less than nothing to do with that, and that other people wrote it to get to Jon. That they think that like maybe members of the Night's Watch wrote it because it's that they give him that, he reads the note, and then he leaves to rally the men to go to Winterfell, and that's when they kill him. If memory serves.
Damn.
But no, I think I think Stannis wrote it because Stannis wants Jon to fight with him. He wants Jon real bad, and I think he wrote it to spur him into action.
I think my single favorite moment from the entire series, and it's the moment I've rewatched the most times, is the moment when we realize we are told who Jon Snow is.
Yeah.
And it's like that baby's face, and then it's his face, and it's zooming out, and I'm just like, dude,
scene.
I have watched reactions to that and still gotten choked up. Like I'm just like, I remember myself when that happened.
Dude, the scene immediately following that, when they declare him King of the North.
Yeah, dude.
What was it? I can't remember his name. Crap, I don't remember his name. It was the guy who promised the Starks he would always fight for him, and then told Jon no. And he stands up and he's like, I did not fight for you against the Boltons in the field of battle, and that was a mistake that I'll regret for the rest of my life. King in the North! I was like, yeah, dude. Fuck you, but I see what you're getting at.
Well, when the Mormon girl, she got up.
Yeah.
She rallied the people together.
No, it was the Mormons know no king, but the king in the North whose name is Stark.
Oh, you want to talk about like depressing deaths?
Dude, that was...
Hers was not depressing.
She was badass.
Hers was ferocious.
Dude,
yeah,
hey,
that was horrible.
Want to know one of my favorite deaths though? Grin. When
to kill the giant?
Yeah.
He's alive in the books.
They said their oaths as they're like as it's coming, and I'm just like, yo.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm like, dude.
You don't see that happen in the books. Grin's not down there. Like, it's Donald Noy and a few other men. Donald Noy's not in the show, which sucks because he was an awesome character. He's a one-armed blacksmith, and it was like let's fight this fight, and then we got to pick our next Lord Commander. And everybody in the Night's Watch knew that Donald Noy was going to be it. Like there was no other option but Donald Noy. And then Donald Noy died killing the King of the Giants. It was the sword was in the giant's throat, and Donald Noy was pretty much twisted in half, laying in front of him.
Damn.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Man.
Well, we're talking about what is the most...
When they said their vows, dude, their oaths, their oaths, I was sitting over here like beating my chest.
My
I was
boys.
Like, yeah, I was like, you gonna kill that giant. You gonna kill him.
Well, we're talking about the most sad deaths. I don't know if I can really pinpoint one, but I know it wasn't Hodor. Like, I think Stannis' daughter, Robb Stark's, and Oberyn's death all gave an equal or more emotional reaction than Hodor's death for me.
I think they were very sad, but
Who was the last one you said?
Oberyn's.
I don't think his was sad.
I don't think it was sad.
But I think the other two, though, they were sad. And I agree with you. I just disagree that they were more sad than Hodor. This podcast got depressing really quick.
What about my boy 1-1?
1-1?
I know.
Oh, yeah, dude. The giant, when he ran in.
He's
looking at Jon and then...
No.
Ramsay fucking Bolton, dude.
Dude, I hate Randy. Dude, most satisfying death, Ramsay Bolton.
That was so good.
Ramsay's death was satisfying?
Either Ramsay's or Joffrey's. One of those two.
I would say...
I think Ramsay was way worse than Joffrey.
Littlefinger was up there for me in terms of hype deaths. I was really hyped about Littlefinger dying, finally.
Yeah, dude. Oh. He get on his knees, he's like, Sansa, please.
And Sansa, she don't take no shit.
For real. It's like, how you gonna kiss a child and then be like...
Well, I think it's cool.
I loved you.
In the books, she's... crap.
You couldn't handle Addison, could you?
I can't remember the name.
Had to sit down, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the name that she's going by in the books right now, but she's pretending to be Littlefinger's bastard daughter. And
that's interesting.
And at the beginning of every chapter, it gives the name of the person who the chapter's from. So, after the moment where he gives her that name, every chapter from then on is that. It's that name. It's not Sansa anymore. Just like after Theon gets captured by Ramsay, and we find out that he's Reek, all of the chapters from then to a certain point are different names. It's never the same one twice. There's like the King in Winterfell, where he dresses up as Theon to give the fake Arya Stark. It's Arya in the books, and it's not actually Arya. It's Jane Eyre. Jane Poole, I think is her name. Gives her away, and then there's the Ghost in Winterfell when he's just like stalking around doing stuff in Winterfell, and then the last chapter from his point of view, it's like these people have come. They're like, yeah, we're here with Ramsay Bolton. We're here to get Arya Stark out. Can you help us? And he like doesn't know if it's like another trick from Ramsay, but he decides to go with it. And then he gets Jane out, and that chapter is Theon.
Which, if we want to talk about things that Season 8 did right, it's giving Theon his redemption arc and allowing him to die protecting his king.
Dude.
That was awesome.
I know I've mentioned it to you both before, but I've never said it on the podcast. One of my favorite callbacks in all of Game of Thrones is Season 1, when the wildlings come into the to like the Weirwood circle and hold Bran hostage, and Theon tells Robb, Robb says they came into our city and tried to kill my brother, and Theon tells him, if it's to be a fight in the Weirwood, I just need you to know that I'll always stand behind you. And then here we are, Season 8. They came into their city to kill his brother, and it was a fight. And it was a fight in the Weirwood, and Theon stood behind him.
Love that. Yeah. Love that. Theon, he was
awesome.
I really liked his character up until he turned into a little bitch.
Until he turned into a traitor,
and then turned into Reek.
Yeah.
Which poor guy.
Had he just sent that letter,
even with how big of a bitch he was, did not deserve what Ramsay Bolton did to him.
He got it rough, dude. He got it really rough. It's worse.
Look,
in the books, it's way worse in the books.
We got off track, and then we got off that track. So let's bring it back to that first track. Favorite game of the year
so far? Probably the Final Fantasy VII remake. That was pretty fire. But
that's where my money was going.
It's kind of hard to give it to a remake. So apart from that, I would say maybe Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know if I like Ghost of Tsushima more than Last of Us 2. It's a hard sell. But Final Fantasy VII remake was fire.
All right.
I have not played it.
When it came in at the end with the One Winged Angel remix, I was losing my mind, dude.
One Winged Angel is one of those really iconic soundtracks, man.
Yeah. It's a great fucking thing,
dude. We do talk about audiobooks a lot.
Yeah.
Audiobooks a lot on this podcast.
Yeah. Have we had a podcast yet where we didn't?
I'm not sure.
Maybe. Probably not in the 4th of July one.
Audible sponsor us.
Dude, I would sell out Audible in a heartbeat.
So we have both finished 1984.
Yeah, I didn't do 1984 on Audible. I read it in high school.
But I have not read it.
Yeah,
on Audible.
Yeah, you did it on Audible. Finished just recently, didn't you?
I finished
this weekend.
I finished on Sunday because I know that because I took a drive to drop my friend off down in the valley. Finished the book on the way back. Started a new book, and now I'm like halfway through that one.
Heck yeah. Well, what'd you think of 1984, dog?
Okay. I think it was a great book, and it had me paranoid at times. Listening to it multiple times, I was like, I got chills. I was like, ooh, that sounds nasty. That sounds ooh.
So I asked you the question
from the get go though, real quick. Hearing about the Ministry of Love from the get go, I was like, I do not want to go there.
Yeah.
I was like, but that's where we're gonna wind up being in this fucking book.
So I asked you the question before you got to the part and you didn't know what I was talking about. But now that you finished, I want to ask, what'd you think of the box?
The box.
When they bring in that box and they tell him what's in it.
The rat?
The rat.
Oh god, dude. Yeah. Oh. Dude, and they put it has like a face mask attached to it. Mm-hmm. It has a fencing helmet is how it's described.
Yeah, yeah.
and like you put it on and there's a hole in the helmet where the rats can get through and there's no other way out and they're hungry. Dude, oh man, I was like, don't sell her out, dude. Don't sell her out. Because the whole thing was spoiler if you haven't read the book, go read the book. Skip like
great book.
A little bit, I guess. Navigate to the next topic.
The book's been out since 1948. If you hadn't read it yet, come on.
I mean,
almost 100 years.
But look, okay, so that scene, what's going on there is, because you may not know, I don't think you've read it. What's going on there is he and his lover, yeah, he and his lover have both been arrested by the party. The party being the big organization in charge, the government. And so they're being held at 2 different places, and the guy that's interrogating him has already told him, like, hey, she gave you up, like, from the get-go. He's like, textbook, I've never seen it happen so fast. And he just refuses to do it, and it comes to, like, this is, like, one of the last parts of the book, and he's just adamant, I'm not going to do it, and then they break out his biggest fear, rats. And in a box, in a cage, with a helmet, a fencing helmet attached to it, where that's the only way out is through that helmet. They have starved these rats. They are hungry.
Oh my god!
Think of back to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they did that in Game of Thrones. Yeah,
and they put the bucket on their chest.
Yep, where Arya was in jail.
Yeah,
or Too Fast, Too Furious. If you know,
I haven't seen it.
They put a bucket on a dude's chest with a blowtorch with the rat inside. Anyway, so they go to put it on his head, and it's slowly lowering. And there's a gate, a little mini gate between the rats and the helmet. So once he pulls it up, so you hear him. It's like coming over him, and then you hear like one click to open up the first gate, and there's one more gate. And then, like, he almost, like, fade. Do you know Get Out?
Yeah.
Do you know the scene where he's, like, falling through the floor?
Yeah.
He almost kind of does that to himself, just thinking, like, separating himself so that he maybe can't feel the pain. And then he just gives her up. He just sells her out, even though they already know everything. But it's not about them learning information. It's about you conforming.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kill you anyway, but,
They didn't kill him, did they?
were going... Well, not yet. They always tell them that, like, no matter what, we're going to kill you. You don't know when it's going to happen, though. Mm-hmm. But he gives her up, and he hears another click, and it's closing the box, pulling it off. They don't do it to him. But I was like, dude, they're going to go for his eyes. They're going to fuck him up. I was like, hey, if this is how it ends... I was not crazy about the way they ended the book. I didn't hate it. It was not... The ending that they gave me was not... Of the endings I thought could happen, it was not one of the ones I was, like, picturing. So it just kind of took me by surprise, which is a good thing, I guess. And it doesn't feel like it wasn't warranted, or it didn't lead up to it. It felt like it did. It's just not necessarily what I would have gone with. But it was good. It was a good ending. It was all right. I think my favorite scene is a scene... Most of my favorite scenes are inside the Ministry of Love. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite scenes from the book is he has him, like... his name is O'Brien, I think, is the guy who is interrogating the main character whose name is... Winston. And so he asks him some questions, and then he holds up 4 fingers, and he says, how many fingers am I holding up? And Winston says 4. And then he says, and if the party were to tell you that it's 5 fingers, how many fingers am I holding up? And Winston says it's 4 fingers, and he electrocutes him. And he's like, and he just keeps electrocuting him. And he's like, how many fingers am I holding up, Winston? And then Winston eventually cracks. He says, 5 fingers, 5 fingers. He goes, no, I think you're saying it just to... I think you don't believe it, basically, is what he's saying. Like, you're saying it because you think that's what I want you to say. I want you to believe it. How many fingers am I holding up? And he's like, 4 or 5, whatever it takes to get you to stop. And dude, I listened to that chapter, and then I had to stop because I listened to it as I go along my day. Next time I saw Luke, I was like, Luke. He's like, what? And I'm like, how many fingers am I holding up? I love that. That was my favorite part of the book.
Once they get arrested, Like, I thought the whole book was good.
Oh yeah.
But it's like all right, and then they get arrested and it just spikes up.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
The largest bulk of it I listened to was 5 hours while I was painting. Painting minis, and I was just there's a cool like way that they do. Now there's a trope. Sorry, there's so much about this book, and I keep going off in different directions, but I'm gonna try and stick to one piece at a time. They do this relationship where like the two at first don't even look each other in the eye, but she like I think gave him a note or something, and it said like
wrote a note to him.
Yeah,
said I love you.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, he doesn't know who this is, and she knows who he is, and well, he knows who it is, but he's like, how could she be in love with him? And the thing is, love is not. I don't know if it's forbidden in this world. It's just not a thing, and
I guess.
And you aren't allowed to do things out of the ordinary. If you do things out of the ordinary, they arrest you.
Yeah, you can't like just bang people.
Yeah. It is a dystopian nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is not against left or right. It is against authoritarianism. Whether it's look in Russia when it came out in Soviet Russia, it was banned for being pro-capitalist, and in America, it was temporarily banned in certain places for being pro-communist. Because the people didn't realize that it's not about left right. It's about you being an authoritarian cunt.
Yeah, if it doesn't fit what you believe to be correct, then it must be anti what you believe to be correct.
Yeah. Yes. And so there's this trope from a lot of books of the time, I guess. I've read 3 books recently that were all released. They were all published around the same time. Between 41 and 55, that 14-year span, I think. And it is obviously 1984, The End of Eternity, and
Fahrenheit
451. And they all have this same trope where an older man attracts a younger woman who like he always questions, why does she want to be with me? I'm an older man. Like I'm an old man. He's like she would much be better suited with someone that's younger. And for some reason, and all of their answers when he asks them, why do you love me? In each 3 of the books, it's like there's something about you. And I was like, that's just the fantasy, I guess, at the time, like of the writers.
But I mean,
at least in now let's say this though, at the End of Eternity is better about it than Fahrenheit or 1984. The End of Eternity does some really cool stuff with that. So listen to that one. I want everybody to read that book. It's great. But 1984, Big Brother's everywhere. I want to get a poster that says Big Brother's watching you because I just think it's a cool
it's neat.
There was the way they got called. The TV was behind the poster, and I was like, of course it was. Of course it was behind the poster. They were in the bedroom. I think they just finished banging, and
I think,
and then they were like, "Don't move." Like intercom came on, "Don't move," and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're caught." That's it. And
so that's what you've been doing. I just recently finished The Name of the Wind by I think it's Patrick Ruthsford or something like that. It's book 1 of the Kingkiller Chronicle, who everybody I've ever heard like, dude, Kingkiller Chronicle is the shit, it's so good, you gotta check it out. I was not impressed with book 1. I've heard book 2's a lot better, but book 1 was kind of meh. The best part of the book, in my opinion, is like the main character is a musician, and the way he describes music, pretty cool. Some of the things they talk about in like that has to do with the magic, pretty cool. Apart from that, not all that fun. But now I'm listening to Stormfront, I think is what it's called. I'm not really sure, but it's the first Dresden File book. Really, I don't know how long the series is. I got a lot of people that told me about it. Molly and her family told me to read it. Like, when we went to New Orleans, every one of them was like, yeah, you gotta check out Dresden Files. And I was like, shit, man, I guess I'll give it a shot. I'm like 75% of the way through it, maybe. And it's pretty good so far. It's about a wizard in New York, like modern day New York, who is a private eye. And he's very openly and outspokenly a wizard, but everybody's like, it's a crock of shit. You know, magic's not real. But it is. Like, all these things exist, like werewolves, demons, vampires, they're all real. And the plot so far is he's like a psychic consultant is what they call him at the police department, but there's a detective who likes to work with him and believes the whole magic thing. They get a murder, double homicide. 2 people died in the acts of love. Their chests exploded.
Oof.
Like, the way it explains it is their heart blew out of their rib cage, and it there's blood and muscle mass all over the walls and ceilings, and they're like, yeah, how'd this happen? And so he's trying to.
That sex was the bomb.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out how they did it, who did it, and at the same time, there's this. Apparently, every wizard has a warden, which is somebody assigned to them by the White Council, which is the Council of Wizards, to make sure that they don't break the rules. And his warden is convinced that he killed those people. Absolutely convinced. And a lot of the guy that was killed that way was a gang member. And the dude who runs the gang keeps reaching out to him to get him to stop investigating. He sent people to rough him up and threaten him. And it's pretty good so far.
It's Chinatown.
He has a skull that talks. Same to Bob.
Damn.
Bob.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I like it so far.
Right now.
Got you.
Right now, Luke's about to start another book in September. Or at least getting it in September. The Path of Destruction.
Yeah. Path of Destruction.
The look on your face for a second.
I was so confused. I was just like, what the fuck's he talking about?
And it's a book that I read in high school and I'm currently listening to, and that book is great. Awesome.
It's about Darth Bane?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's I don't think it's the same writer that wrote the Darth Plagueis book.
Yeah,
but I know you like that one, and I think you're gonna like this one. I was telling them earlier about a scene that just happened in the book where it was a fight between 2 people. I'm not gonna tell you who it was. It was a fight between 2 people, and one of them it was the most. And look, I'm sure it's vanilla to you, Luke, especially, but it was probably the most gruesome ass whooping I think I've ever I don't want to say witnessed, I guess, but seen, read, envisioned.
I've seen some pretty rough stuff.
Pretty bad. Well, I think the sound effects in the audiobook had sound effects. I think that added to it.
Yeah, the Darth Plagueis had sound effects too.
Yeah, this one had sound effects and it has music sometimes, and and the guy does really good voices as well. But I mean, it was a nasty.
Do you know the name of the narrator?
I can look it up.
By the way, the Darth Plagueis book was not written by the same guy that did Path of Destruction. I just looked it up.
Let's see, Path of Destruction is read by. It doesn't say. I'm sure
if you go to its page, on the store, it should say narrated by.
Let's see. Path of Destruction. Hey, can you pull that up, Jamie? Damn it. No, it doesn't. It just says who wrote it. It doesn't say who's the narrator. Or who the narrator is. Oh, well.
Let's see.
Well, I know for me, I've made a really big change, and I've really been trying to read as many, not necessarily nonfiction, but more philosophical books.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to do more intellectual reading rather than entertainment reading. And there are some really good things that I've delved into. I read a book recently called Reality is Broken, which is it covers a lot of the different views on the philosophy of playing video games, and are they helpful or are they harmful? Do they actually make you violent? Things like that. I watched another one on, or I read another one on philosophy of ethics in a workplace, and really soon I'm about to start one by David Foster Wallace. And David Foster Wallace, I think, is a modern genius. Just from what I've seen of him, I've heard a couple of his lectures, and the dude is he's just on another level intellectually. And I've never actually read anything by him. I've heard a lot of stuff, but up until recently, I'd never done any research. And I picked up a book called Brief Interviews with Hideous Men. And I've tried to leave everything in it as mysterious as possible. I haven't looked at anything, any reviews or anything. All I know is one of my best friends, Daniel, was like, if you're going to read some David Foster Wallace, this is one that you need to read. So I picked it up. It is a fiction book, but he injects a lot of real life elements into it. So I'm really excited to start that one.
Heck yeah. So I looked it up. Darth Bane is narrated by Darth Plagueis is narrated by Daniel Davis, and Path of Destruction is Jonathan Davis. So they are not narrated by the same people.
Okay. Well, it is a very good read, especially his performance with voices. He gave voices to like when I read it in high school. I envisioned one way for Darth Bane to speak, and he gave him a completely different one. He's like this. Well, he's like this, like 2 meter tall, jacked, like big jack
2
guy.
meters?
Yeah, he's 2 meters.
It's like just over 6 feet, right?
He's like I forget what the thing is.
Yeah.
1 meter is more than 3 feet.
A meter is just over a yard, which is 3 feet. So he's over 6 feet.
Yeah, but he's 2 meters tall, big jack guy, bald head. I mean, he is like, and
he's 6'6" plus.
Yeah,
which is big.
Yeah,
and his
big dude.
His voice though, is a very calm, almost cold kind of like, and he has like almost a British accent. It's just not what I was envisioning. It works though. It works really well. He's not like mustache twirly British. Like, he's really cool actually.
I get on there and he gave him like his best Count Dankula impression.
He gets on there and it's like, I will destroy you.
Oh my god, dude.
That's not even British. That's fucking whatever Seth Rogen was doing in that movie. Dude.
Swedish,
yeah.
I think.
No, he was Polish. He was Polish.
He was Polish.
All right, so
get these.
So before we get into doing our review, we have another topic we want to talk about.
One more thing we want to talk about.
Okay, so Addison, you're in the NFL and football, and you're into sports in general, but that's your main area of expertise.
Yes.
Now, I don't carry with me that kind of level of expertise on any sport, but I do think I would consider myself an MMA aficionado.
Okay.
I watch a lot of fights. That's like my main. That is what I watch. It's my favorite sport. The only time I'm not watching it on Saturdays is maybe during football season, but even then I might just watch 2 screens.
Heck yeah.
Especially because the UFC pay-per-view events are only once a month, and I will watch that over anything. And I'll watch the fight nights. And the other night we watched a fight, and you just saw the highlights today. I showed it to you. Luke was there watching it with me, and I think all 3 of us are going to watch the UFC event coming up this weekend.
Yeah, are we going to try and watch it at your place? We're going to go to B-Dubs and get a couple drinks and watch it. That way we don't have to pay for the pay-per-view.
Is it going to be at B-Dubs?
Personally, I'd rather not go out.
Oh, yeah, you're right. What with
especially with school starting back, and I'm going to be getting tested before we go back. So, fingers crossed, by the way. Derrick Lewis versus, I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Olenek is his last name. I think it's Olensky Olenek.
I couldn't remember.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, he's a good fighter. He's got a lot of fights under his belt.
Yeah, exactly. He's well past his prime, and Derrick Lewis knew that.
Alexei Olenek. By the way, the records going into the fight were 23-7 for Derrick Lewis with 1 no contest, and Alexei Olenek was 59-13 and 1 no contest.
Damn.
He's got a lot of fights.
And that's a good record, too.
But Derrick Lewis put the beat down on Olenek Saturday.
It's been a minute since I've seen a heavyweight beat down like that. Like it was.
Well, he set the record.
It was rough.
Too. He set the record. Most heavyweight knockouts
in heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
That is
in UFC. Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Look, and my man never fails to entertain on his post-fight interview. Mm-hmm. This time, what he did was he didn't realize that his mic was on, and he didn't realize that because the way they do it now is instead of having someone come into the ring and talk to them to keep separation, they have him walk to where a camera is. They stand in front of a camera, put on a headset, and they speak to the camera to the commentators. He didn't realize that his headset was recording, and he couldn't hear the other guy, so his headset was just not turned on. And he looked off screen. He looked off screen at somebody, and while he's unwrapping his hands, I gotta take a shit.
I gotta take a shit.
It's like, what was the last time? My balls was hot.
My balls was hot.
Look, Donald Trump came to watch this man fight. Not last time, not this past Saturday,
not this one,
but like
his previous
fight. Donald Trump came to watch him fight.
I gotta knock this Russian motherfucker out.
Donald Trump called me before the fight.
USA in this bitch.
I gotta knock this Russian motherfucker out. They were talking bad about him in the news and shit.
He's fucking hilarious.
I think Derrick Lewis,
entertaining.
He is probably my favorite fighter right now.
He's up there. I got a couple of different favorite fighters, but
he's probably top 5 for me. I like him a lot. He just doesn't disappoint.
Never.
I think my favorite fighter right now is it's hard between two of them, and it is Dustin Poirier, I think is how you pronounce his last name, and Israel Adesanya. Dude, I love Israel Adesanya, dude. I love his fucking antics, dude. He's a funny guy.
The first time I watched him fight was at your place during one of, I think it was one of the pay-per-view events.
And he did
he came out, and before he comes out of the tunnel, and before he walks from the tunnel into the ring, he does this 4.5 minute break dance with his cornermen, and then does 3 front flips, and then walks the ring. I was like, dude, you better win. If you come out of the tunnel doing that shit and then you lose, dude, I would revoke your contract.
He put it though on Robert Whittaker.
He did. Kick that dude's ass.
Dude, but I ain't got no power. Dude, I loved his move after he won. He pulled out machine guns, like air machine guns. It was shooting left and right, and then he flipped him up and put him away, and dude, he's a gangster, dude.
I love Israel Adesanya because of his energy. He just has so much energy. I could snort 6 lines of crack before a fight, and I would not have that much energy when I got done with it.
Look, Marvel needs to get on that with Israel Adesanya. He wants to do it. He wants to be in a Marvel movie. Get him. That's money. That's money.
You gotta find a role for him first. Hell.
Look, he is, and don't take this the wrong way. He is from Africa. Mm-hmm. He is built he's a ripped dude. Put him in the next Black Panther movie, dude.
Make him a villain in Black Panther. But we already know that the next Black Panther villain is going to be...
well, no, just put him in there somewhere. Let him be...
What's his name?
I don't know.
Michael B. Jordan's character.
Is he
apparently Michael B. Jordan will return for Black Panther 2.
Hopefully...
Killmonger. Hopefully it's just flashbacks. Because I think it would be shitty if they killed him and then he was like, oh, by the way, I didn't die. You stabbed me in the heart and then threw me off a cliff, but I lived. that would be so stupid.
He's like, my Black Panther suit may not protect me, but the writers will.
Yo, what if he just comes back and he's just like, hey,
you don't need actual armor if you have plot armor.
What if he comes back and he's just like, hey, you know that shit where you threw me off a cliff? Not cool.
Yo, he's gonna
wasn't a fan of that one.
Not cool.
He's gonna come back. Wait, there's more. Look,
it's gonna be even more swole this
He's
time.
Gonna come back in Deontay Wilder's outfit that he wore to the ring. Oh, but no, for real. Look, George St. Pierre was in the Winter Soldier. He was the first, one of the first, main. Yeah, he was like a mini boss on that first mission from that movie. Israel Adesanya could do something like that for Black Panther, but you got to get this guy in there. That's dude, I would go watch a movie just because Israel Adesanya's in it. He's a funny guy. I freaking love
Either
him.
That or he can be in the live adaptation of Naruto.
Dude! Oh, please.
Because those Naruto celebrations were awesome.
Let him play Rock Lee, fuck it.
dude, I'd be all about it, dude.
Yeah, dude. He has so much Rock Lee energy about him, dude.
Oh, dead ass, yes.
If there was anybody, he is the Rock Lee of the UFC, and he is going out here throwing fucking kicks and he's picking people apart with his fucking stand-up game.
For I must go all out just this once.
Yeah, dude. I love him. Dustin Poirier, though, I love him too. He's a great fighter. Yeah, he just had one of the fights of the year against Dan Hooker a couple of weeks ago. And and it went the distance. Right now, if you don't know who Daniel Poirier is, he was before Tony Ferguson, he was the interim champion, which there's been 3 interim champions for the lightweight division in the past year, and it's like Khabib, defend or vacate. I get it, with coronavirus, it's extenuating circumstances with coronavirus. He couldn't get out of Russia to come fight, but motherfucker, dude, come on, Tony Ferguson said it against Conor McGregor. He's like, defend or vacate, motherfucker. McNugget, where you at? But
McNugget.
Look, Dustin Poirier was not the Intercontinental champ. The
Intercontinental champion of the UFC.
he was the interim.
Yeah.
He was the stop.
Yeah, brother.
He was the interim lightweight champ, and then he fought Khabib, and he got submitted in the I think 4th or 5th round. And now he took almost pretty much a whole year off. Then he fought against Dan Hooker in a great fight, and he won. And so he's actually getting a good setup to, I think, fight Tony Ferguson next, who just lost the interim championship to Justin Gaethje, who's about to fight Khabib. So I think the 2 fights that they need to make, one of them's already being made. It's Gaethje versus Khabib for the championship. They also need to make Poirier versus Ferguson, and then the winner of that one fights the champion, and the loser fights the loser of the championship. Mm-hmm. I think that would be awesome, dude. That would be so many great fights back to back. They got to make it happen. I follow on Instagram. I follow Daniel Poirier, and he is he looks good already. He looks like he could fight again tomorrow. So they need to get him back quickly. They need to quit sidelining Conor McGregor's career and get him another fight that he wanted to do. He said at the beginning of the year he wants to do 3 fights this year. They've so far only had 1 back in January against Cowboy. He beat the fuck out of him for 30 seconds. They called it. Great fight. Highlight of that night, actually.
No.
Oh, easy. Are you kidding me? Those shoulder strikes were the highlight of that night.
That was pretty fire.
And then he did a head kick. But no, they need to get him 2 more fights, but they're not going to because they can't make as much gate money with him with COVID. But they still need to get him another fight. I think maybe if you were to do a fight not between Poirier and Ferguson, which I think is one of the fights to make, you could do either of them against McGregor. Maybe Ferguson, because Ferguson's last fight was before Poirier, so you can maybe get him back. But the thing is, he took a lot more damage in that fight than Poirier did against Hooker. Ferguson took a lot of damage against Gaethje. You remember that fight?
Not really. Not even who you're talking about.
The fight, okay. It was
I don't know these people's names.
Okay. Do you remember the guy that's he has those wing tattoos on his back, and then he got the shit beat out of him for 4 rounds, and we were like, yo, when are they going to stop this fight? Do you remember that? Let me show you a picture of him.
Not off the top of my head.
Gaethje put on a clinic on how to punch people in the fucking face.
Damn, him. Oh yeah, yeah, dude. Look, I love Ferguson. I love Tony Ferguson. Got the fuck beat out of him. Justin Gaethje was the corner advice. The corner made that fight because if you listen to the corners between Ferguson and Gaethje. In Ferguson's corner, all they're telling him is, you're doing great, you're doing good, just go out there, you can do it, just encouraging him, not giving actual advice. But in Gaethje's corner, they were like, hey, take 10% off your punches, you're throwing 90% in there, take 10 off, you're already hurting him, take 10 off, don't overthrow your punches. They were actually giving him legit advice, and he took that advice, went in there, and again, like you just said, performed a fucking clinic. Teed off on Tony Ferguson. Couldn't knock him out. Nobody can knock Tony Ferguson out. I am convinced.
Granite jaw, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he still didn't. He got TKO'd because Herb Dean, I think, stopped it. I think it was Herb Dean. Stopped the fight. But Tony Ferguson, that motherfucker can eat meat. Vasily couldn't slap him down. And Vasily's a super heavyweight. Tony Ferguson's a bad dude.
Knock your fucking head off.
Look, Tony Ferguson is a bad dude. There was a conflict on an interview where I think it was Cain Velasquez, one of the greatest heavyweights ever, and Tony Ferguson, a lightweight, one of the best lightweights, but a lightweight. They got into it, and Tony Ferguson's like, you don't want a piece of this, man. I'm like, dude, look, Cain Velasquez would eat him for breakfast, but I appreciate the gumption. He's got more than I would. I would never look at Cain Velasquez the wrong way.
Tony Ferguson, for real though, in that fight, would he would eat shots and then still fight through and land a couple good hits on Gaethje, and it's like, how?
Did you know that?
And any normal person, like 2 punches from Gaethje and you're down. Like it's done.
If you're lucky to.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're lucky, one.
Yeah.
I'd rather eat one, flop, and then get up and walk away.
No, you're lucky if you don't get hit at all. When you just run faster than him. Like,
I mean, good luck, I guess.
Exactly.
You know, super athlete over here, like trained to whoop ass, and I'm over here like my fucking like. Fall Guys, PlayStation playing ass. Like, I'll run away.
Yeah, there's a reason we carry guns.
Just in case Justin Gaethje slaps my fiance's ass. That's why we carry.
Dude, I used to work with a guy. I worked with a guy
me to laugh at my own jokes.
Who like posted a meme on Facebook about how people who talk shit about how like if somebody stepped to him they shoot him, that just means you can't fight, and I was like, you're right, I can't fight, and you ain't going to for long if you step me with that.
And him right, I can't fight, dude.
Yeah.
Just like, you thought that was really funny.
I did. Hey, fuck off. All right. Listen, you don't need to be able to throw hands when you can throw it, and it's over.
Dude, you throwing magazines.
Dude, I don't throw straights, I throw lead, dog.
Telling you don't want this smoke.
What's the other big fight that's
I got shooters in these streets. Where are they? Right here, motherfucker.
yeah, right.
Now, for real, though, Justin Gaethje, man, he dude.
What's the other big fight? Isn't Daniel Cormier DC?
Okay, we'll get into that in 1 second.
All right.
But real quick, the title fight between Khabib and Gaethje, man, okay, the betting man in me says put money on Khabib and I don't dislike Khabib. Don't get me wrong. Look, was it unprofessional as fuck for him to jump out of the ring and go after Conor McGregor's I guess cornerman, whoever it was that he jumped out of the ring after.
I don't remember who it was.
He jumped out of the ring like his brother or something like that, maybe.
But Conor McGregor had it coming. You can only push a man so far. It's not right for him to do that, and he should have been punished.
One of the biggest shit talkers in sports.
Yeah,
Conor McGregor.
Although he's also apparently one of
he's almost better at that than he is fighting.
However, in private, apparently he's really nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, he does it for attention.
Yeah. But for Khabib, it just took it to another level.
It's all part of the game.
Yep. But the betting man in me wants to put it on Khabib, but I like Gaethje, and I like watching strikers more than wrestlers. Now Gaethje is a wrestler. He was an All-American wrestler, if I'm not mistaken. Nice. Yeah, that was his background, was in wrestling, and obviously Khabib's is in wrestling. But
did he wrestle a bear or some shit?
I mean, that's the rumor. I've seen videos of like a child wrestling a bear, and they said it was Khabib, but I don't know if that's actually true. But Justin Gaethje knocks people out. He has knockout power. Khabib, I don't necessarily think does. Khabib's great at mauling you and then submitting. Gaethje's good at mauling you and then knocking you out with either ground and pound or a really good striking game. I mean, when he beat Tony Ferguson, there was essentially no wrestling going on in that fight. It was all strikes.
I can't think of another fighter on the top of my head that places his strikes as good as Gaethje does.
Poirier does pretty well. McGregor can. There's a few, but Gaethje's like one of the top dogs.
He's so precise.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny? He had at one point the worst vision in MMA.
Really?
He was practically blind. He had to have eye surgery. If you watch older interviews, he's like wearing his glasses. His eyes are like dilated as fuck because he can't see. Like his vision. I think I was reading an article about it the other day. It was like terrible. I can't remember what exactly the numbers were, but like 2020 is good. He was like 2050 or 2070 in one. I mean, he was.
My vision's 2040.
Yeah, he was like 2050 in one eye, 2070 or something. I mean, he was fucked. And he had to have laser eye surgery, so he can only see shapes across the octagon. And then once he gets his hands on you, it's crazy though his accuracy, even though he was like blind as shit.
It makes me think maybe he just he doesn't take his vision for granted as much because he knows what it's like to fight without it.
For real. Again, betting me says put your money on Khabib. He's a great champion. And BJ, just adding in there, BJ Penn is overrated, but he's a great champion.
Ooh. I do not disagree.
Technically, that's a hot take for some reason, but whatever.
BJ Penn sucking is a hot take.
He's definitely past his prime.
But people.
Wait, does he still fight?
Sometimes.
Oh.
They let him fight. Yeah, they let him fight for some reason. Old man Penn over here trying to like get knocked out outside of bars and shit. BJ, don't come find me and kill me, please.
Yeah, because trust me, it won't end well for you.
Yeah, no.
As we have established in this podcast, it won't end well.
It's not a good time for any of us.
Listen,
Molly, look, my fiance's just like, I'm just gonna go talk to him. Like, Molly, what? No. He seems like a nice guy. Like, no, Molly, no.
No, real quick, just a little paperwork. We're good.
Little paperwork. Look, I'd be like the most hated man in the MMA community. Like, Chris Dewberry, the piece of shit, shoots the greatest lightweight ever, and I'm just in jail. Like, he's not the greatest lightweight ever. You go to jail. It's like, you think you can beat BJ Penn? I kind of did. But look, he is a great fighter. Or was a great fighter. I mean, he's still good enough to beat my ass, I'm sure.
I mean, Forrest Griffin could beat my ass. Hell.
Okay, look.
Hold on. Who's the most irrelevant UFC fighter you can think of?
The most relevant?
Irrelevant.
Oh, irrelevant? I mean, where do I start?
Oh, God.
Yeah, just name
wait,
one.
UFC, right? Not just MMA, because, I mean, there's a million.
UFC.
Okay.
I can't think of his name. Who is the dude that Anderson Silva originally took the middleweight belt from?
Chris White. No, he lost to Chris
Kevin
White.
something, I think. Something with a K.
Just tell me the most irrelevant name you can think of.
The most irrelevant name I can think of? I mean, I saw a bunch of undercard
Forrest
guys this
Griffin.
past Friday. You mean big name or like just no name at all?
Just no name.
I mean, fuck. Let me.
Anybody.
What was on this past
Saturday
night?
Here's the point. It doesn't matter. They could beat my ass.
Yeah, like I guess that dude that Luke was talking about, not in the podcast earlier, but the guy who like face turned red when he wouldn't tap.
Oh yeah,
sure, him. Bald dude had a giant welt on his head. I don't remember his name.
That guy could
huge
beat my
goose
ass.
egg, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Tagged him one. Got tagged like once right here, dude. I'm talking fucking like that big.
Yeah,
huge.
Yeah,
Like round
ostrich
one,
head.
two, I think.
Dude, at one point he saw like death and waiting for him. Like he was getting beat so bad, and then the guy grabbed his head and was gonna throw a knee to his face.
Oh yeah,
he went.
Yeah.
Look, he caught life for 2 seconds. And went.
Yeah. The other dude put him in the clinch, and then he like pushed out and got out. I went, dude. That guy just saw his life flash before his eyes.
It's like, oh god, dude, he was
about to get decapitated.
He was out on his feet multiple times.
Dude, there was once he hit him, and I shit you not, he stumbled back and around for like 4 seconds straight trying to get his feet.
Look, when he fell back, his eyes were just.
When he finally got KO'd, he was just.
There were a lot of good fights this past fight night, man. I was not disappointed. One of my favorite underrated fighters, well, I don't know if he's underrated, but one of my favorite fighters who's lesser known, his name is Maurice Green, the crochet boss. He does crochet.
Nice.
He does crochet. It's his hobby. He likes doing crochet. Hey, look, he's a family man. He had a fight. It was on the same card where Dustin Poirier beat Hooker, Dan Hooker. Hooker, I barely know her. Anyway, he beat and Maurice Green fought this. I forget this one dude who used to be a light heavyweight and is now a heavyweight, put on a lot of weight. Long story. And he submits him, and you find out after he submitted him that he had just moved his entire family from, I believe it was Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, I think, to Arizona. On a loan from his trainer because he couldn't afford it, and he was like, he had to win this fight. I mean, he had two losses in a row. He had to win this fight because if he lost this fight, he was pretty much guaranteed going to be cut from the roster. So he was like, usually the UFC doesn't tend to keep people who have a lot of losses around unless they were like a former champion or former contender, a big name, and he's not a big name, and he won the fight. And dude, he was like crying. He was like breaking down. He was like, I mean, he's like, I feel like I've won my job back, and hopefully maybe I'll get a bonus tonight. But I was able to win. I got a win bonus. I'll get to take care of my family. And I was like, dude, I feel for this guy. He gave a really good post-fight interview, and it made me a fan. I started following him on just about every platform I'm on, And I want to see him fight again. I hope he wins. I want him to. I would love for him. I don't know. I don't think he has the skill set right now to be champion, but I think he could. He used to be like. So he's got a really good story. He used to be severely overweight. I think he said he was obese, and MMA became a health goal, a way for him to lose weight, and then it became a profession. He's got a really good story, and he's got a good heart, and man, look him up. Look up Maurice Green, the crochet boss. I mean, he's hopefully he'll be going places because I want him to like at least become a contender, and I think he has the skill set to do that. He just doesn't have the skill set to be a champion yet, but he can get there.
Hell yeah! Shout out to that guy.
So big fight coming up this Saturday. The headliner. Super excited. Sadly, I didn't see the first fight between these two. It is, and I didn't see the second fight because I was at work and I tried to catch it on my way off, and I still missed it. So I've watched them both since then, and it is Daniel Cormier. I can never understand that. Anyway, Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic. Miocic,
I'm pretty sure.
Miocic, and it's a triple fight. The third fight.
Trilogy fight. Thank you.
It's a trilogy fight. Daniel Cormier beat Stipe to win the championship, and then Stipe beat him, took the championship back, and now it's the trilogy fight. I think it's going to be awesome. They're both wrestlers. Stipe Miocic, the reason he was able to beat Francis Ngannou is because of his head movement and his wrestling. Because Francis, if you know who Francis Ngannou is, dude is fucking giant. Like, you talk about Derrick Lewis being a big dude, no size compared to Francis Ngannou, dude. That dude is massive, and he was throwing haymakers the entire fight. And if you just watch Stipe Miocic like moving like Muhammad Ali, and then he'd get in and wrestle him. So you've got this trilogy fight coming up now between Cormier and Miocic, and dude, I'm so stoked.
Well, I mean, I could be wrong about this because I keep up with UFC pretty casually. But isn't DC? I feel like he's like well past his prime and hasn't been as good recently.
I mean, he lost to Miocic, but he was the champion before that. He was the heavyweight champion before that.
How long ago was that?
Last year.
Okay, really?
Yeah, it was just a year ago.
So
it'll
definitely
I think it was
wrong.
I'm pretty sure it was the 8th of last year that he lost.
Okay, interesting.
To Miocic, and
8th of
August.
Okay.
August. And dude, he's good. He's just, man, that's the thing. Every time I see him do an interview, every time I see him doing commentary, I just think this guy's a fucking champion, or at least a champion a year ago. Like he looks like me.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like he was like super fucking swole, and then he got busted for steroids, and when he stopped doing that, he got fat again. Or isn't that the story?
I didn't hear that, so it could be.
I could be thinking about somebody else, but I think
it's
I've
DC. Heard of that story. Don't have a name to connect it to. I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but I've definitely heard that
Chael
story.
Sonnen got busted for all kinds of shit back in the day, but Chael Sonnen,
John Jones.
Oh my god, dude! I saw this list. I'll get to that in a second. The fight. It's gonna be a good fight. We're gonna watch it. I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Oh yeah.
If it's not, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it no matter what. Whether it's a fight that sucks or a fight that's really good, we'll talk about it. For my money, it's like I want DC to win. I like DC. I don't hate Miocic. I like him. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's a great champion. And it's like who I want to win is probably DC. It's kind of like that Khabib Gaethje situation. I think Miocic is gonna win. If I had to put money on it, I put it on Miocic, but I hope DC wins.
Yeah, I have no preference on the fight, but I'm gonna be just because it's two giant dudes. I'm gonna be excited to see some haymakers thrown.
Same. I want to see some heads get knocked, dude.
But heavyweight fight. You always expect that from heavyweight fights, and it almost never turns out that way. But when it does turn out that way, it's always a great fight. So, I don't know.
But we were going to talk about... What was we going to talk about? We were talking about fights, and I said, in 1 second, I'm going to touch on that subject.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well.
It was...
Oh, well. And
what a power thought.
We can probably go ahead and move on.
Get into that
fights, movie, awesome. We're going to get into the movie review now. We're going to talk about a movie we just saw. For some
watched
reason,
it.
why is the sound?
Was, I think, night before last is when we checked it out.
Yeah.
And it was, it's a movie on HBO called, what was it?
An American Pickle.
Yeah, An American Pickle, starring
Seth Rogen and Seth Rogen.
Yeah. And it's starring Seth Rogen as the co-leads of the film.
For some reason, the sound was getting really quiet just then. I don't understand why. It's doing it again right here. Yeah, you can see it's like really low. I don't know why. Did I turn this the wrong way?
Watching the level on the left, it looks all right. So.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. It's weird. Okay.
I don't know.
We'll fix it.
Well, anyway.
No, we're just gonna upload it the way it is. Hopefully, you guys can hear what we're saying.
Yeah. Anyway,
5 minutes of us just being.
All right, so An American Pickle starring Seth Rogen and Seth Rogen.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, but basically, it's a story of like 1919. This Polish immigrant comes to America with his wife.
With big dreams.
And yeah, he has big dreams of being super successful. He wants his family line to be crazy successful and like rule America. Well, what happens is he gets a job smacking rats with sticks at a pickling factory, falls into a vat of pickles, and immediately after he lands, they cap up the pickling jar.
Close the
and
factory.
then they're like, factory's condemned, we all go home. 100 years later, some kids find a drone, free him, and then he ends up, they like check him out, they make sure he's fine, some like doctors do, and then he ends up moving in with his great-grandson?
He was pickled, and that's how he lived for 100 years.
Yeah. The pickling brine perfectly preserved him for 100 years, instead of drowning him.
Yeah.
So he gets hooked up with his great-grandson, also played by Seth Rogen.
Yep.
And this guy is an app developer. And so the story is like he kind of like helps the old guy. I don't remember his name.
Oh, I don't even remember.
It is old Seth Rogen, the original Seth Rogen.
Polish Seth Rogen.
Yeah, Polish Seth Rogen. Okay,
Polish Rogen.
American Rogen helps Polish Rogen. Like acclimate, I guess.
Old man Rogen.
And then Polish Rogen is just like, oh, you're not successful. I'm gonna go be successful. And so he like just starts off doing. He makes pickles because that's what he knows. And then
the way he
everybody,
makes pickles.
it's gross. He uses like recycled rainwater, and pickles or cucumbers that he got out of dumpsters.
Jars that he just finds on the side of the road.
Everybody is a stereotype in this movie.
Yeah, everybody loves his pickles, and then he becomes successful, and so American Seth Rogen is jealous, and so he calls the health department, and then after the health department thing happens, he overcomes it and becomes more successful, and then it's just basically every time anything happens, he ends. It's like he becomes successful, and then American Rogen does something to sabotage him, and it works. But then Polish Seth Rogen becomes even more successful, and it's just constant until finally, eventually, his career is ruined because he badmouths Christianity because he is a Jew, and so he asks American Rogen to help smuggle him to Canada where he can start a new life. And then American Rogen is like, oh, by the way, I'm the one that ruined your career. And he's like, oh, well, you suck. And so he frames him and gets him arrested. And then Polish Rogen takes over American Rogen's life. American Rogen gets
sent to prison.
Gets deported back to Poland.
With the worst judicial system America's ever seen.
They prove that it's the American Rogen. They're like, no, it's the Polish one. So, so they deport him, and then American Rogen or Polish Rogen feels bad, so he goes back to Poland, gets him, and then they come back to America. He actually gets his citizenship this time, so he can't be deported again. And then they restart the pickle business and become successful again. And it had some pretty funny jokes, I thought.
The best jokes.
The best joke was literally 30 seconds into the film. From there, it's just kind of downhill.
Yeah, it peaked comedic comedically at the very beginning of the movie, which is a very bad thing.
I got really high hopes after those first couple of jokes.
Same.
I
did
like,
too.
Dude, it's gonna be funny.
Like 10 minutes in, I was like, dude, I'm here for this. 30 minutes in, I was just like, oh, dude, how long is this movie again?
Like,
dude,
it starts...
It's 86... It's like 88 minutes.
It's 88 minutes and 24 seconds.
Look, it's 88 minutes.
An hour 28, 24. It feels like 2 hours.
Dude, like...
It just goes and goes.
It started out on the level of, like, The Interview and ended on the level of, like, Sausage Party.
I actually really like Sausage Party.
I
think a better one is it started
movies,
on the level of
so.
It started on the level of what was the first one you said?
The Interview.
The Interview, and it ended on like Little Nicky.
Oh yeah. Much better
Nicky,
comparison.
dude.
I will also say Seth Rogen, worst Polish accent I've ever heard.
He didn't do great. He didn't.
Borderline offensive.
I think that might have been the point, which is a bad point to have.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's get into the.
Do we want to get into the numbers? Or you want to keep talking about it? Because
I mean, we're gonna be talking about it as we get into the numbers.
We'll
talk more about it.
We're gonna start breaking these numbers down. Addison.
I'm trying to think. There was really like real talk. Only 2 characters.
Oh yeah. It was Seth Rogen.
It was Seth Rogen and it was Seth Rogen talks to Seth Rogen for 88 minutes. That's what it was.
Man, it was
bad, dude.
So the way that we do our reviews is a lot of times critics will just give their opinions on the film, and then they just give you a number rating. We like to show the process of our number being created.
Okay.
So we have different categories. We assign a number between 1 and 10. We do use decimals.
Okay.
The decimals go lowest to like 0.25.
Okay.
It's the lowest. It's like the most. You know what I mean by a 25th of a point.
Yeah, you can't be like, I'm going to give a 8.06.
And then we take the average of all of them, and that's our score for the film.
Which, real quick, IGN announced that moving forward, they've changed their review scale. They will now not be offering decimals. It's just a 1 through a 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all they'll give you. And I'm just like, dude, that's the most rookie shit I've ever heard.
A game that deserves a 7.1 gets an 8 now.
No.
They bump that shit up.
They do like round.
Are we sure?
Correctly. Well, I mean, yeah. I read the article. Like a game that they previously would have given a 7.2, they will now just give a 7. Okay. A game they would have given like a 7.8, they will now just give an 8. I think it's dumb. Yeah. I think it's stupid.
But anyway, back to an American Pickle.
So, we're gonna start off, and these are in no particular order. There's no like theme to the order that we go through this list of criteria. Lighting. Here's the deal. I don't think for a lot of these shots, some of these shots they had to use CGI because they had them in the same frame. Or maybe they did a simple frame split. But for a lot of this, it was him acting a scene and then him having to come back and do it, in a different costume. And that lighting had to stay consistent. So while I don't think the lighting was super dynamic and that it was like, there were no moments where I was like, wow, the way they have this lighting set up is just superb. I was thinking to myself constantly like, oh, wow, they had to like keep this lighting consistent. And at no point during the film did I think, oh, there's the lighting difference. Hair and makeup's a different story. But,
Yeah, I'll say lighting in film is one of those things you only notice most of the time when it's really bad. So the fact that we didn't notice anything like that means it was pretty good.
Or really just over, like split lighting, that kind of stuff. Or Chinatown when they have Jack step back into the shadow.
Like 1917 used lighting really well.
Yeah. But. So I felt the lighting was, while not dynamic, their ability to keep it consistent was very noticeable to me.
Yeah.
But what were you going to say, buddy? After you get that big hearty yawn.
I was going to say something, but I realized it's probably better to save for a later category, so I'll save it for when we get over it.
So let's go and give some numbers. I think I would give the lighting a 6.5.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty fair score. I agree with that.
I was thinking like 7.5.
I'll meet you on a 6.75.
That'll work.
All right, so direction. Who directed the film?
I'll look it up.
No name studio director number 3. Like
it was the same guy that wrote the short story, right?
Well, no, I don't think he directed it. I think he just wrote the script. I'll look it up.
I mean, I didn't notice a lot of the direction. You know what? I will say this.
It was directed by Brandon Trost, and it was written by Simon Rich. Brandon Trost, I feel like that dude did the best he could with what he had, and what he had was almost nothing.
I mean, he definitely managed
By the way, Polish Seth Rogen is named Herschel. And American is Ben.
He definitely managed to craft a cohesive film. Technically, there were times where I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But there was no time where I was confused.
Yeah,
I was never confused.
I was able to keep up.
Past the pickle brine didn't drown him, I wasn't confused.
Yeah, you just kind of have to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah,
it's very hard to suspend that disbelief. Honestly, you might say I didn't suspend that disbelief.
Yeah, it's impossible.
If we're saying like 5 is true average, I'd probably just give it a 5.
For me, average is like
5 to 6.
5 to 6, maybe 6.5.
Okay, then in that case, I'd probably give it a 6.
Man, I
go 5.75 personally.
Let's just meet at 5.5 then, because I was gonna give it a lot lower than that. So
okay, 5.5.
He did an average job.
Writing,
dude, I give it like a 2.
Yeah, like 2. 2 sounds good.
Yeah, we've already gone over the plot, general plot, but like the dialogue wasn't even that great.
Getting a little more into the nitty gritty of the writing, like you said, dialogue not wonderful.
Everybody is a stereotype.
Everybody. Everyone.
Not a single person was not a stereotype.
There's the stereotypical Polish guy. The stereotypical
vegan.
New York...
hipster
New York hipster millennial. The stereotypical gay couple.
The stereotypical vegan. Yeah.
The stereotypical college kid who just wants to get a
job.
credit.
A credit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the stereotypical judge, stereotypical lawyer, stereotypical. Yeah. I mean, everything was a stereotype.
And like the movie had a meaning, like it had like this hidden message, but it was not hidden with subtlety at all. Like
I do have a separate category for that specifically.
Okay.
Writing like a 2, not good.
2, yeah.
2 sounds good.
Cinematography. I mean,
it was.
I feel. Go ahead.
Okay, so I said the same thing I said the other night. It was passable, but
uninspired.
Uninspired was the word I used. It was passable, but uninspired.
I feel the same way I feel about it as I do about the lighting. Not dynamic, uninspired, but they managed to blend together the same actor pretty seamlessly with the cinematography. Yeah,
there were times we'll get into later. Actually, I guess cinematography would be a good time to get into it. Maybe. Fuck it. I'm just go ahead and talk about it. There are a couple over-the-shoulder scenes, and there's like a couple scenes where the two characters embrace one another, and so you got to pick which one it is. And at no point in the film did the stand-in look like the character it's supposed to be.
The stand-in for me looked like John C. Reilly from behind.
Yeah, like either him. At no point did it actually look like it was supposed to be that character.
It either looked like him or Danny McBride from behind.
Yeah, the stand-in for Herschel had a completely different beard, and I'm not even sure it was real.
Color. And a completely different color.
Yeah.
But I think that's inherent makeup. Cinematography, I think, again, passable, uninspired.
There was nothing original about
but it is... They've shot it well to blend into the same actor playing two different characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did that excellently.
So...
Except for the shoulders.
Again, I would... But I don't think that's because of the camera, though.
Yeah. What would you give it then, Chris?
I give it the same score. I gave the lighting a 6.5. I give it the same score.
I think that's fair.
That seems fair, yeah.
That's what I gave it, though. What we gave it was a 6.75.
6.5 sounds about right.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Pacing. It's bad.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah, the pacing was...
I think the pacing was better than the writing, but, that's not saying much.
I don't feel like there's much to say about the pacing, other than that, it was a, 88-minute movie that felt like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, for real. Again, checking my phone to see what time it was.
There was a whole lot of not things happening.
Yeah. We talked about the pacing in Dune being too fast.
Yeah.
Dune I think, felt like a quicker film
It did.
than this one.
It did, for sure.
And Dune was like 2 hours and 13 minutes, something like that. No, the pacing was pretty
It was like 2 hours 40 something.
bad.
Wasn't it like?
No, it was not. It was like 2:15.
I
Oh
don't
shit!
remember.
So what would you give it, like a 3?
I gave it a 3. What do you think, Luke? You're nodding your head.
Yeah, 3 sounds about right. Yeah.
All right. Next is editing. Again, the same, same as before with the cinematography and the lighting, uninspired, but it did a good job of like blending in together the two actors, or the same actor playing two different characters.
Yeah, they edited around that quite well.
Yeah, now I'll say, like, a lot of, like, the really awkward pauses and dialogue will come from editing, and I didn't notice too many of those either.
Yeah,
True.
Again, though, editing has a lot to do with pace.
Mm-hmm.
And the pacing was really bad. And I don't think it was just the writing. I think some of the editing, there were times when scenes just kind of went on a little too long. And by that, I don't mean the entire scene went on too long, or there was ways to cut it down.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were multiple spots in the scene where you could have trimmed that and it would have made it quicker.
Yeah.
Not like the whole scene was written to be too long.
But they couldn't trim all that fat, because if they trimmed all that fat, it wouldn't be a feature-length film. It's very clearly a feature-length adaptation of a short film. Very clearly.
So what do you think for the editing then?
I was thinking maybe
4.
a 4. Yeah.
A 4? Oh, okay. Sure. Guys, Luke, I mentioned this to you the other day.
Mm-hmm.
We keep reviewing bad films.
We do. Not necessarily on purpose. But yeah, we keep reviewing bad movies. I don't know what we're going to review for next week, but we're going to do a good one.
Well, the thing is, like, when you review a good movie, everybody knows it's a good movie, right? But when you review a bad movie, everybody's like, "Well, how bad is it?"
Yeah,
well, let me tell you.
But the thing is, we're not like picking bad movies to review. We're picking films, watching them, and then reviewing them. We just keep getting bad movies. And I don't want us to just pick a film we know is good. I want us to watch something and then review it neutrally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to do that when we keep getting bad movies. And I'm like, I'm going to start going into these films like, is this one going to be shitty too? Like, cynical, But
it'll get better.
Oh, man.
We just got to believe.
Got to believe it and achieve it.
Do we have any more sections?
Oh, we do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. We have 4 more.
All right, let's go.
Sound.
I mean,
I think it definitely wasn't bad.
It's alright.
Yeah, I mean,
it's alright. Average.
I mean, is there a separate category for like soundtrack?
No, we don't really do the sound.
Okay,
unless there's a soundtrack that absolutely stands out to us and it has to be mentioned, whether it's absolutely terrible or absolutely great.
Then lumping in the soundtrack with sound, like the music again was just not great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
At least you could hear what the actors were saying.
Yeah, like it. Never once was I like straining to hear anything.
Yeah, so that alone, big
6.
deal.
6.
Yeah, we included the soundtrack for Hamilton when we reviewed that one.
Of
Well,
course.
you kind of have to.
Yeah. But sound, so 6? Okay,
Yeah.
I can do a 6.
Yeah, 6
Again,
is fair.
this film's just very mediocre. Like, it's
It is,
not
yeah.
awful.
Like, it's not bad, it's just like...
I mean, no, it's bad, but it's not like... It's just mediocre. Acting, hokey as fuck.
Okay.
I mean, it's Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
Seth
but
Rogen.
Seth Rogen can give a good performance.
Yeah,
But
have you seen This Is the
Steve?
End?
Have you seen Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
Played Steve.
I've seen that
Steve
scene.
He played Woz. Steve Wozniak.
Steve Wozniak.
He played Woz. Killed it. It's a great performance. He can give a good performance. I was very disappointed with the lack of.
Yeah, I wanted so bad to hear his laugh one time in this film, and they just didn't give it to me. I was like, dude, you've wasted his best asset.
At least if you're gonna do that, give him some like emotional spots because like he can do good stuff.
So what would y'all give it?
How does he? Hey Luke, how does he rip it? How does he?
He goes.
so acting, I meant like 3. It was not a good
Yeah,
performance.
it's bad.
I wouldn't have gave it a 3.
I give it like a 3.75 personally.
I was gonna say 4, but you want to meet in the middle, say 3.5.
I do 3.75. How about that?
All right.
because I was going to say 3.5, so I'll meet that. The meaning behind the story.
I don't know what it was.
Don't
I'll
be
honest
mean
with
to
you.
the elderly Polish guys. Don't be mean. Like,
don't
family first.
Yeah. I was about to say don't shun family.
Don't shun family. Respect the wisdom of people that are older than you. Stuff like that.
It's
Work
like,
hard.
Don't work cheap. Work hard.
Yeah.
It's like, how profound is that meaning, and how well does the film execute it?
Don't be afraid to take risks.
Okay, real quick. One thing that we didn't talk about that we have to talk about. The name of Ben, as we now know, Ben Greenbaum, the app he's developing is called BoopBop.
Yeah.
BoopBop.
And then Herschel shit talks the whole film until at the end he goes through some of his stuff and he finds a drawing that Ben did as a kid of him and his parents, who have been dead for 5 years now.
He died in the fire with his parents.
And basically, on the drawing, the dad is Boop and the mom is Bop, and he's like, oh, that's why it's Boop Bop. And I'm like, wow, that's really fucking stupid.
Yeah, that was dumb.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, what do you call your mom and dad? Mom, dad.
Yeah, mom and dad.
Maybe mommy, daddy when I was like young.
Yeah.
Maybe
Mama.
Like mom, pa, I guess, if that's, if you're old school. But like
Mother.
Mama, I'm coming
Female
home.
parental figure. Assistance is required.
Surrogate, I need your assistance.
Oh my god.
Person who conceived and birthed me. I require your assistance.
Hey, wide load, get over here. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Mom, if you're listening, I love you. don't take that the wrong way. Dad, if you're listening, listen. I love you too, Dad. Look, it was a joke. They all know I'm joking.
Yeah.
So meaning
He
behind
hates you.
meaning behind the story is the lackluster.
2.
Yeah, like 30.
Yeah, it has a meaning. It's just stupid.
It's just a dumb meaning.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Don't turn your back on
elders.
family.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Do what I want.
Don't turn your back on family. My like great grandfather, like not my great grandfather, but if I was Seth Greenbaum, Ben Greenbaum, my great grandfather's a piece of shit. Like fuck him.
Yeah.
And if I'm Herschel Greenbaum, my great grandson's a fucking prick. Fuck him. Like I mean, 2. We said 2.
I give it 2.
2 sounds good.
All right. Hair and makeup.
Again, not good. Not good.
Yeah,
Like,
it was,
I thought when the film was like monochrome color, I'm not monochrome.
At the beginning.
At the beginning, is that what is it? Monotone.
Yeah.
Monotone color. Is basically black and white, but had the like almost.
it was gray.
Yeah.
Grainy.
The beard looked good. I was like, oh, he was Lighthouse. He looks pretty good. And
The
then
outfits look good.
yeah, I thought everything looked pretty good for a little bit there, and then we're
and then he gets
watching
pickled.
the movie and.
Oh, by the way, his dream is not to create a successful pickle empire. His dream, his end goal is to drink seltzer water.
Which he does almost immediately once the thing. Yeah.
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 Once he gets pickled and then wakes up, Ben takes him home and is like, you want some seltzer water? And he's just like, oh my god.
So, like, the thing... like, we were talking about how the entire movie is stereotypes. Ben Greenbaum looked like a 40-year-old trying to play a millennial.
Mm-hmm.
The gay couple was very obviously gay. Mm-hmm. Like, from the moment you looked at them, it's like they tried to make them look as effeminate as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it was bad.
What culturally insensitive stereotype? I don't see a culturally insensitive stereotype.
Fuck off.
So hair and makeup I thought looked great, but that's because the editor was like, let me just cover this up a little bit in the very beginning, and then after that it looked like shit.
Yeah.
It looked like ass.
I don't know. Herschel's outfits were nice.
Yeah,
they were.
The
Herschel's
costume,
outfits were nice.
costume was pretty good.
Herschel's hair, Herschel's makeup.
Instead of hair and makeup, let's label
makeup.
this like design. I think it's better.
So I'd probably
Production design.
I'd
Production
probably
design.
say a 2, but I might be being a tad nice.
No, I don't think you're being all that nice. That seems kind of fair to me. Cause like I said, his costumes were nice.
The clothes look good.
Yeah, but that is about it. Like I said, at no point did the other character look like he was supposed to look when they were like embracing, or it was an over the shoulder. At no point
at all. So 2, is that what we're going with?
Yeah, like fucking. They sent it into the first over the shoulder, and I was just like, "Who the fuck's he talking to?" Because I know that's not her.
Who are you talking to?
Who are you talking to?
Who are you talking to?
But yeah, 2, not good.
All right. Who are you talking to? Okay, so got the numbers. I'm gonna crunch these bad boys, and then we will have our score for the film.
All right.
Okay, so have the score, and it is a 4.15.
Yikes!
Hey, that's not the worst score we've had.
It is
We've
not
had
worse.
we've had some bad.
What was the
scores
worst
here.
score?
Probably Fahrenheit 451.
We did an honest review of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was not good.
If it was anything
Still,
more than a 2,
You know,
hey, nice.
still go watch that one.
Seriously.
I think we reviewed it on episode 5. We reviewed it on episode. It was the one after 4th of July. Do yourself a favor. Go watch it now. It is phenomenal. And
It is out of this world.
it is insane.
Despite our scathing review,
It is insane.
it's something.
Okay, but for an American Pickle, you said 4.15?
Yep.
That sounds about right.
That's pretty honest.
A below average.
I
movie.
might would be, if I were doing it, I might round it to 4, just because. Shut up. Just because I feel like a 4 in my head fits better for what this film is. Not just 4 because it's a whole number. Just 4 because I think that fits better for this film. But 4.15 is our score. It's not good.
Very nice.
It was divisive upon release. It had like a 71% approval rating on Rotten Tomato by critics, and like a 43 by audiences, which I think we definitely agree more with.
Yep. Yep.
I'm surprised that even had a critic rating that high.
Yeah, dude.
For real.
Yeah.
After seeing it, I was like, damn, really?
Yeah, for
they
real.
gave it that? Damn.
Regardless, I think a 4.15 fits pretty well.
It's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Kind of spot on, yeah. So that's about all we got for this session, boys.
Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, smash that motherfucking subscribe
Yep.
button.
And if you have any suggestions for content you'd like for us to cover in the future,
any
leave a comment.
movies you want us to review, video games you want us to check out.
Before I forget, if you're selling any unbuilt Adeptus Custodes,
If you play Warhammer and you hear this and you have some Custodes units that you don't want, dude, hit us up.
we will
Those
buy
things
them.
are hard to come by.
We will purchase those.
Yeah, specifically, Dawn Rider jet bikes. If you have Dawn Rider jet bikes and you don't want them anymore, let us
Adeptus
know.
Custodes, Dawn Rider jet bikes.
Dawn Rider jet bikes.
Get them to us. Send them to us for free, and we'll
We'll give you a shout out.
Yeah,
for free.
oh my god!
Shout out to our 5
$200 piece of
Yeah.
plastic here. We will give you that. Not for real, we will buy it from you. So that's all for this podcast.
Hope you guys had a good time.
Again,
Appreciate you
go
guys
follow.
having me on.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Addison, for coming on.
Go check out RP Opinion,
RPOpinions podcast.
Twitter, and YouTube.
Twitter
Check 'em
is
out.
at RPOpinions pod. YouTube RPOpinions podcast. Hit me up. We have lots of fun over there.
Hell yeah! All right.
You'll have to bring us on once the football season starts up to bring us onto yours.
For sure. I want to actually start a series called
What my
Teaching
idiot
Football
friends
for Newbies.
Yeah, I was like, what my idiot friends who don't know about football think about the game that I just watched. And I was like, yeah, man, that was good. They scored a home run, didn't they?
Like I had
Did you see that pass in the second quarter?
I actually do know about football. So
Dude,
I'm
I
not
had
that guy.
a really good friend of mine ask me what an RPO was, and I had to reevaluate my life decisions on who I was keeping in my life.
Yeah.
It
right?
was like,
Hell yeah.
what? It's what my fucking podcast is named after, Jesus. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Theme song.
Told myself to quit this cigarette addiction. Try to grow up, get the money quick. This transition needs to happen lickety split. I wanna fall deep into my drugs, deep into some love, deep into things I don't know enough. I need to fall deep into you. I don't care for down that bloodstained salty sea of blue. I got brainwashed by the TV and the news. They taught me how to consume materialistic things that get me the blues. Arms I don't need, most of them are rotting inside of me. Crunching down the years and the days. My mind got chained, I'm enslaved. Try to shift the hallucinations away. Is there really such thing as a grave? If so, please don't take me away. I wanna talk for the rest of my days. My days. My days. My days. My days. I'm gonna take it a day at a time. No, sir, I don't want your lie. I learned at an early age that most people that you meet are evil, see through, and just wanna use you for things you have. Thus you give in and adapt, yeah, just like that. All you see is shining jewels, ice cold, gripping you so you can't get through. Get out of the box, step out of the box. Take handy downs and use socks. Never know when the economy's gonna stop. Drop rock is the mind of a businessman who all he thinks about is guap. What about the kids with no parents? What about the kids with shitty parents? I wanna be here and save the world, but me not caring sometimes is apparent. Most of all just wanna get out of this state. Let go of all this hate and be something great. I wanna deep into my drugs, deep into some love, deep into things I don't know enough. I need to fall deep into you. I don't care for down that bloodstained salty sea of blue. I got brainwashed by the TV and the news. They taught me how to consume materialistic things that get me the blues. Arms I don't need, most of them are rotting inside of me. Crunching down the years and the days. My mind got chained, I'm enslaved. Try to shift the hallucinations away. Is there really such thing as a grave? If so, please don't take me away. I wanna talk for the rest of my days. My